Hi, everybody, and welcome to a slightly late Moohead Radio Monday program. I'm your host, a big and furry bovine, Brian, joining me. Tony the calf may be coming in a little bit, but that's only if his girlfriend shows up to his house. Sorry, Zoom just doesn't work anymore. It does not allow me to broadcast on YouTube, which is really nice, seeing as how they're charging me every month. So they'll be canceled. And I don't know what the problem is over there, but
we're joining the cancel culture.
Yeah, it said you can sign, re-sign on to Google and everything will be fine. It's like, why am I re-signing? I come over here to StreamYard, everything is perfect. So they're having problems. Hello, Krembly and Holstein Power, kiss the hoof. All right. And well, we do have some sports to talk about, folks, and the Cleveland Indians have managed to do it. It's just amazing how consistent they are. And, I know that there are probably a lot of Indians fans who are like, Mr. Moohead's going to go off the deep end and he's going to rail against the organization and this and that. And I'm going to tell you, no, that this is just consistent for the organization. This is what they do. And let me explain the Indians' philosophy. If they can't control your contract, they get rid of you. All right. So, Lindor will be traded, and not, of course, during the season. After the season, they're going to try to do everything they can to trade him. And if not, he's just going to become a free agent. And that's the way it works. And we will try to get younger players who we control their contracts and hope that we, hit it good, by one of those guys becoming a substantial Major League Baseball player. And then, of course, for now, we will bring in a bunch of untalented, unproven flops in the big leagues. And so that they'll beef up the deal. So we get 6 whole players for Mike Clevenger. And hi, Tony. How you doing?
Man.
Good. So what we got is a haul, if you want to call it that, of 6 players for Clevenger. And Greg Allen is gone as well.
And a player to be named later.
And the famed player to be named is going to be somebody in single A ball or something like that, and nobody of any value. The bottom line is this. I'll give you the names. You already know them. Cal Quantrill, Joey Cantillo, Gabriel Arias, Austin Hedges, Josh Naylor, and Owen Miller. All right. Those are the players we got. All right. Here's an overview. All right. Probably the guy who there's 2 in this group that would be maybe amounting to something. Arias, he's 20 years old. He's in the single A. He hit 302, but anybody can hit in the California League. He had 17 home runs and 75 ribbies in the Class A Cal League. But he's going to be a good fielder, but the question is whether he can hit. That's what they said about Omar Vizquel, who turned out to be able to hit better in Cleveland than anyone thought he would be able to hit. But, Arias is bigger and he has more power if he can hit at the major league level. Cantillo is a left-handed pitcher who's probably the guy who the Indians were looking at needing a left-handed pitcher coming out of the bullpen. He's only been in Class A in Fort Wayne and in Lake Elsinore. He was 10-4 last year. He struck out 144 hitters in 111 2/3 innings. He is looking like a real situational left-handed relief arm somewhere down the line. Now, Hedges is a guy that I knew before this trade only because our alleged future catcher you remember the trade. What was his name? Now I'm blanking on my the guy that they were going to turn over catching duties to, who was supposed to be this great hitting young catcher, but he really wasn't a real good defensive catcher. Was Diaz his last name?
Diaz?
Something like that.
No, I mean, he went to the Padres, and maybe people can, help me out in the chat room.
Wasn't it Yandy Diaz?
No, Yandy Diaz went to the Rays, and he was a second baseman. I'm trying to think of the catcher's name. He was a Hispanic guy, and somebody in the chat room maybe can remind me of who he was.
Rick's over here.
Mejia. That's the guy. And he has been an absolute bust. He's injured all the time, and he's unable to hit. So Hedges actually got the starting nod over Mejia and promptly rewarded the Padres by hitting 199 over 3 seasons. So we are so happy to have him on board. And it will tell you that at 199, he's hitting 3 times better than the combination that we currently have of Sandy Leon and Roberto Perez. So, but he's going to be a backup catcher. Sandy Leon's going to be bye-bye. And so Hedges will be your backup guy. And Bo Naylor, as his brother, will come up to the major leagues. Is going to go away to Bo Taylor. I'm sorry. Bo Naylor is one of our minor league players, by the way. But any way you look at it, Hedges can't hit. He is a defensive catcher. So now we have 2 catchers who hit below the Mendoza line. Congratulations to the Cleveland Indians. The infielder Miller from San Diego, he was the 3rd round pick in 2018. He got up as far as Double-A at 23 years of age, hit 13 homers and 68 runs batted in. He's probably the guy who they think can hit the ball. I don't know. Think Tyler Naquin. And then Naylor is the other guy who's fat. I mean, I don't know any other way to put this. He spent parts of the last 2 seasons with the Padres hitting 250 with 8 home runs and 34 runs batted in, but the guy is fat. He doesn't take conditioning seriously, and this is what we have to look forward to. And it's kind of a shame because the guy's 5'11" and listed at 250. I'm 6 foot and 260. You don't want me coming up to the plate, folks. The only advantage of having me up at the plate was that the inside pitch would catch my gut. Please. I mean, and this is what you can get for Clevenger. And but the Indians were obviously done with him.
After the Chicago incident.
Which is one of the most ridiculous things that I've heard of in my life, but he was Trevor Bauer's best buddy on the team, so he may be just a loose cannon as well. The other thing from the Indians' perspective, to be fair and even-tempered about the whole thing, is that Clevenger has been injury-prone. He's been good when he's on the field, but he's had to take breaks away from the game because of injuries. And he is 29 years old, and he did have Tommy John repair surgery, which is where he found his 95 to 97 mile an hour fastball. And I think that between what happened with the whole bubble incident, even though they don't have a bubble per se, and the fact that the Indians had control of him over till 2022, didn't like his attitude, and they just decided to gone. And they also figured, which is a huge mistake, by the way, that Plesac and Tristan McKenzie, you're expecting Tristan McKenzie, who's been injured far more in a brief period of time than Clevenger, in a shorter period of time, just while with the Indians minor league organizations, he's not going to be able to give you a ton of innings. and he's wet behind the ears, and he is going to basically Plesac will take Clevenger's role in the starting rotation, and McKenzie is going to be left up with the big league team. And I think Plutko is going to be out of luck, which is good for me because Plutko, it's like, not a major league pitcher. But Frankie is not gone yet, but might as well be, Tom. This is paved the way for what we knew was going to happen. This is the last we're going to see of Lindor. Great young player, and a guy who will find much more national acclaim playing for a real organization in a bigger market. And he's going to get a hell of a payday to do it. Believe me. And Rick is, I'm sorry, Rick, I tried to go on the air with Zoom and it wouldn't even let me go on the air. It is completely messed up. So this is what we're using from this point forward. So bring out the Spectrum guys, because you're going to need to do that. We miss you and we want you on the air.
Yeah, especially today, of all days.
Yeah, I know. And hello to Gruff Hipster 8. Nice to see you in the chat room. Hi, Broncola. Frankie can go wherever Frankie wants to go, right? That's kind of, what that's going to be. And, like Rick was saying, again, Plesac's going to start tomorrow, and McKenzie then will pitch. And there was a big difference between McKenzie and his second start than his first. We figured that he did not have the command. I'll also tell you that Savali in his start had less command. And as the games become narrowed down at the end of the year and start counting more and more, the questions you ask yourself is, if the Indians are even close when all is said and done, will you trust Plesac and McKenzie and that group of guys in Savali to be your we feel good about Bieber, and Cookie looked good in his last start, which made me feel better because he really had kind of lost his way. But these other three starters are unproven commodities, and the Indians don't care about winning now. They don't care. They are just going to continue doing things the way they do them, and mediocrity and above mediocrity, but not good enough to ever do anything but to either get lucky and get into the playoffs for a one-game wild card thing and get beat by the Rays, or we've waited all this time and now Minnesota and Chicago have caught up and are going to blow by us. So that's kind of what that is. And Gruff Hipsters asked me, can I review a song? God only knows where this is going. Can I review a song? And he's coming to us from Twitch. I can review songs if you're a musician. I've composed music. I'd be more than happy if you would want to leave me a link. I'll be more than happy to review a song for you. I love music. Bronk is the Halcyon Days, Brent Strom. Yeah, it's. I think McKenzie. The problem with McKenzie is going to be his arm strength. I think his health. He's just so frail looking, man. 165 pounds, soaking wet. I don't know whether is he even going to be able to put mileage on that frame. I don't know. And as is, McKenzie's stuff, 4 pitches. Look, he has a plus fastball, but I did not see the bite in the curveball or the slider that I saw in his first start, and he was not commanding the pitch. And you just can't throw 96, 97, 95 miles an hour and just have a fastball and get away with it. You've got to have 2 or 3 pitches, and it's all about command. You saw Savali, who tops out at 93, and when he didn't have command of the curveball, which is 77 miles an hour for him, it all went to hell in a handbasket. No, no command. He's behind in the count, has to come in with the fastball. Babunga. That's all she wrote. So, I don't know. Tony, what do you think? I know you're probably rejoicing as a Twins fan, right?
I'm a little bit because we're awful. We just got swept by the fucking Tigers.
Yeah, that's unusual. Take your eye off the ball. You get up for the big series, but the Indians beat you 2 out of 3 too. What's going on there?
We lost 5 in a row. It's the same old Twins adage every year. They can spend all the money they want on offense, but if you ain't got pitching and your offense slumps, you're fucked.
Yeah, that's exactly what the Indians used to be under. What was his name, Bronk? The guy who Hart, was that his name? The guy who was our general manager back in the day. We just kept adding and adding and adding more hitting, but we never had the requisite pitching in order to really get the job done. John Hart. Thank you, Brock.
Yeah.
We're
reliant on, we have Jose Barrios, who's, he's a pretty good starter for what he is.
Well, the story on Barrios, though, that I'm getting is that he has not been the same pitcher. And for a little while now, it's not just this year because of the pandemic, but that his control is not fine like it was when he was like unhittable against us. He really had command, but it's not there right now. What's going on with him?
Well, what he's doing, he's always been at best your third or second pitcher, and they're trying to make him the ace of the staff, which is not in his cards. And I think he's boiling to the pressure on that. You look at it, we're relying on Rich Hill, who's 40 years old and
I couldn't believe that. I mean, the Indians couldn't hit him either, right?
Yeah, Randy Dobnak was fucking an Uber driver a year and a half ago, and now he's our number 2 starter. Like, what the fuck is going on here? They've got Michael Pineda, who got knowingly suspended for taking fucking steroids last year.
Nice.
Yeah. Homer Bailey, fucking. I'd rather fucking have Homer Simpson on the fucking mound than Homer Bailey.
You've got Homer Bailey?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, he's coming off the DL here soon, but
or even Beetle Bailey.
Yeah, I'd rather have Pearl Bailey. I mean, the thing that's crazy. The thing that's crazy about it is I saw who's pitching in Atlanta these days and is 1-4. The little cowboy, Mike Tomlin. He's still in the league. He's 35 years old and he's still in the fucking league. How is that possible? The guy couldn't top 84 miles an hour by the time he left Cleveland. How is he in Atlanta and why,
It's just you're so reliant on all these stupid fucking these weak pitchers, and you refuse to spend any of the talent we do have, in our minor leagues to get better pitching. It's insane. They did nothing at the trade deadline today. Everybody's talking we're going to be the best team in the AL.
Well, you are, because you just watched the Indians get worse. I mean, how much musical chairs can we play with bad outfielders? It's like Leonard Pinth Garnell on the old Saturday Night Live, bad theater. I mean, it's bad outfield. That's who we are. That's our modus operandi. That's what they're saying, Bronk. And I don't know that Clevenger has done a nice job for the Indians. I'm not like brokenhearted about the whole thing, but how do you trade the guy who is your number 2 starter when you're really tied at the top for the first place in your division, and not get the outfielder that you need? How do you do that? I mean, you could have gotten.
Did you pick one of the weakest teams in the National League to trade with?
Well, I mean, we've had good success, okay? We've had good success trading with that organization, and there's a pipeline there, obviously. But I think, we could have had Sterling Marte, who's better than anybody we all have out there right now, and that's scary to say that. And they just parted with him for nothing. He went to the Miami Marlins, and instantly probably got COVID. I mean, I don't understand how we end up with the guys. Did you see the last game? Luplow lose the ball in the sun with his sunglasses on. That's special. That's really special. The guy can't play a lick. He doesn't hit right-handed pitching. He's not hitting left-handed pitching either this year, and he can't field. So I don't get it. I mean, so you got rid of Greg Allen. He could run. Luplow can't even run. I don't even know what we have out there. And then you have Delino DeShields, who covers a lot of ground and catches a lot of fly balls, but can't hit a lick. And Naquin, who I always felt, if he would stay healthy, would be kind of like what Chisenhall was, okay? Which is a good enough player, assuming you had center field and left field kind of squared away, But we don't.
Right.
It's and now, yeah. The fact is that you could have kept Brantley, but that's the way it goes, and it's kind of it's just like when you have Corey Kluber, you could say, "Oh, we could have kept him." Then it's like he may never pitch again for all we know. And look, Tyler Naquin, he at least is a Major League Baseball player. Luplow is not. He just isn't. And neither is Delino DeShields Jr. They're not Major League players. And Fat Boy that we just got, I don't know what to tell you about this guy. Let me read this to you.
Fat Boy.
Josh Naylor will help as an outfielder first baseman. He's the older brother of tried minor league catcher Bo Naylor. He's 5'11", 250 pounds. What the hell? I mean, and he came out, and the thing that he was most known for out of San Diego is that he was fighting weight problems. And I don't want to go through this, man. It's like
260-pound outfielder. What the fuck?
I know, and he's going to move into the outfield. They say. I mean, you want to talk about sod of flying? My God, this guy's got hooves. He doesn't have feet. I mean,
and it's a deep fly ball who's going back and back and God.
No, I want to see. It's just like the guy in the Natural who ran through the wall and died. I've seen Josh Naylor run through the wall. It's and. The fact that he's had some major league experience, hitting 253 with 9 home runs, that qualifies him to start in the Indians outfield. That's fucked up. He's played some left field. He's probably best at first base. He has battled weight problems. It's like the basketball player the Cavs had. What was his name? Tractor Trailer.
Robert Tractor Trailer.
The late Robert Tractor Trailer. And it's like, yeah, dead of a heart attack. No. I think maybe,
Yeah, speaking of someone else who died that was making the rounds at the end of his career was Cliff Robinson.
Yeah, I was sad to see that. That's a guy with an 18-year NBA career. And the headband. He was one of the original headband guys in the league, and a really good, versatile player. He was kind of a precursor to the modern big guy who had shooting range. I would say like Larry Nance was that kind of guy. Cliff Robinson was a good ball player and so durable. To find that he passed away at only 53 years of age, it's really kind of a shocking thing. And there you go, Bronk. Yeah, that's what we'll call him, Tractor Nailer. that would be great. Be the first one on your block to have your left fielder end up in a box, and it's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's is it to one or the other? They're all together. I mean, this is how they do it. I mean, it is consistent. You're not going to be a big star in Cleveland. You're going to move on and become a big star someplace else. And we're going to develop players. We're a developmental team, and we live with pitching, and that's what we do. And we have found, if we hadn't have found Plesac and found Tristan McKenzie, we'd be nowhere because we can't score runs on a consistent basis. And it's maddening. What does 14 runs in one game mean? If you can't get any more than 2 the next time out, it's like, if you're going to score 16 runs, give me 8 and 8, give me 5, 5, and 6, and I'll win all 3 games. But we can't do it because there's no consistency. Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, and Rick brings up Lute Olson, Iowa, and John Thompson.
Yeah,
of the Hoyas in Georgetown. There was no cause of death listed on John Thompson. I guess Lute Olson died of Iowa. It's a horrible, horrible syndrome, Iowa syndrome.
Actually, he died in Tucson.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah.
The looter. But yeah, so we've seen, just like we saw the Lou Henson pass away a couple months ago. The guys who I grew up with as being like the college coaches and all going away. And John Thompson had a prolific career as the coach of Georgetown. And
that movie actor passed away too, Chadwick or whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah, the Black Panther.
Chadwick Boseman.
I guess Wakanda is now Waganda.
Yeah, the problem that with that is that he had been sick for the better part of 4 years, and nobody knew. He was doing a prolific amount of work over that period of time. But it gets you. And it was like I was watching a autopsy program on Bill Bixby. Do you remember Bill Bixby?
Yeah.
The Hulk,
the Incredible Hulk.
Right. Well, Dr. David Banner. Lou Ferrigno was the Hulk, right? But Bill Bixby was also in My Favorite Martian all the way back in the 60s, and he was also in the
courtship of Eddie's father.
That's right. And
when he should have been banging the Asian maid, he's out dating all these weird chicks.
And Rick pointing out, he, the Black Panther, he died of colon cancer. The reason I was bringing up Bill Bixby is he died of prostate cancer, which is even rarer yet in the sense that people don't usually die from it. But Bill Bixby turned out that he had it for some time and never got a PSA test. So men, go out and get PSA tests, It's real important, but what a way to go.
And colonoscopies.
That's right. You got to get, because colon cancer is another thing that, especially if it runs in your family, and also runs in African Americans. So, too late on that is too late. You can be a little bit slow on the prostate and still, get through that.
Coded, you would have to ask that of Farrah Fawcett. That's what she died of.
Of what?
Anal cancer.
Oh yeah. I mean, and that was a bad death.
Will spare ribs lead to butt cancer?
Oh, all right. Well, I mean, the answer is no, but Ryan O'Neal will. 40 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock. Hey, I'm timely. I'm up to date on this shit. You know. At any rate, so much for the Cleveland Indians. Mac Wilson does not need surgery. He's looking to get back to the Browns in 4 to 6 weeks. I'll see y'all soon. Yeah, we'll see how soon that is. You know.
Well, my guess was 5, so it'll take a full 5.
Yeah, but at least he won't be injuring anybody until then. And hopefully when he does, it will be for somebody on the other team. You know, I found what he did a whole lot worse than what Clevenger did. I'll be honest with you. I mean, to actually strike your own teammate and cause that, I found that to be really bad. But
I mean, Clevenger's situation, he's just living a normal life. You know, Matt Wilson was intentionally trying to hurt the fucking guy. So
yeah, I mean, and Dr. James Andrews is the second opinion that Mac Wilson got, and he said the injury could heal on its own with rest and treatment. We've heard that before, though. I want to point out that what they're saying is that he had a bad hyperextension, but there's not structural damage, which means that his ligaments were not torn. And that's really good news. But whether you can actually come back from this year or not, they said he could heal. And so I don't get all that excited about this kind of thing because he's playing a position in a game where cutting and back and forth, it could be, when you dislocate something, you've got to strengthen up your quads and tighten up that area. And if that thing's prone to slipping out, you could wind up with very quick ligament damage. So something to keep an eye on, But for the Browns, it's good news because things are not looking real good on other fronts. I mean, Myles Garrett hurt again. He's got a wrist injury this time. He said that they're using an abundance of caution, Stefanski said, but he sat out Sunday's practice because he just is always seemingly hurt. And so it goes with and I want to point out something else. I've yet to watch an NBA game, not going to watch an NBA game.
Nope.
And I'm a person who quite honestly I'm a Cleveland Cavalier fan. All right. That's why I do the show. I do Northeast Ohio sports. A Browns fan. I shake my head with the Indians, but it could be worse. It could be the Marlins or the Pirates. And then there's the Cavaliers who gave me my championship. So I can't get too upset with that. But the NBA season means nothing to me, and it means less and less. The more sports keeps tying into the political climate and crisis in this country, it is not an escape for any of us. It is depressing. It is something that I'm sick of.
Yeah, I will say this about the political climate thing. Everybody knows I'm a Republican. I want to hear Black Lives Matter from the common black folk. I don't want to hear Black Lives Matter from somebody like LeBron James who makes billions of dollars and has private security and it would never be in the situation that George Floyd, Jacob Blake, or any murdered black person would be in.
I really think that Black Lives Matter has become a hijacked thing. And whereas it meant something at one time, and I did say this on a prior show, just like, there's so many things that start out one way and end up another way. Mm-hmm. But I think now we have absolute evidence that there are left-wing terrorists and right-wing domestic terrorists showing up to Kenosha. They are doing
Portland last night.
Huh?
Portland, the past 2 weeks, the fucking Antifa's been burning Portland, and then now all the Trump parade comes up, and all of a sudden one guy ends up getting murdered.
I mean, this is, not, it was like I was saying to somebody online, this is not a black and white issue, smirk. This has gone far beyond, easily defining, and it's exceedingly upsetting. And day after day after day of this, and being surrounded by it, and being hurled at by different media forms, and having social media bombarded with it, I've purposely made an attempt the last couple of shows to stick to sports, because that's where I want to be. And this is not a political talk show. But the fact of the matter is that the NBA is hurting itself by doing what they're doing, because in the end, it will accomplish nothing. Playing hoops is playing hoops. It is entertainment, all right? And it should be entertainment. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be exciting. But, you start putting slogans on your jerseys, and then everything is, we're going to have an ad campaign doing this. We're going to, and pretty soon we're not watching a game anymore. We're watching rhetoric in between the game. And I don't feel comfortable or happy with it. And I just want to watch the fucking game and be done with it. I don't want to be reminded of all of this crap constantly. And I hope that the NFL, baseball, I'm having no problem with, because I'm not sitting there watching Rick Manning and Matt Underwood, talking about all of this shit, Well, Matt Underwood wouldn't even know what was going on. Let's be honest. But, I have no interest in hearing about this shit, and I hope that the NFL just concentrates on the goddamn game and we can be done with it. Goodness.
Yeah, and the hypocritical thing about the NBA is, was it a week ago when LeBron and those guys, the Clippers and Lakers, were talking about boycotting the season, and then the rest of the league thought about it, and then all of a sudden the board of governors says, well, if you do that, we're going to have to cut your salaries 35 to 40%. And boy, did they rush back to start playing again.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
There's a lot of self-interest involved in all of this, but I think at this point, it's safe to say, and I know I see Rox is in the chat room, and yeah, Cy is right. It's a hurtful thing. In our household, it's a hurtful thing. And I want to point out, and I'm not saying this to appease Rox. I'm saying this because it's true. If you lived with somebody who has extended family across the country and these things are happening, and and it's different than being in my little isolated suburban gated community bubble. And when you see how it affects people, it hurts. It really does. And you don't want to be reminded of this crap. And especially, it's like, it's like, oh, let's go to the theater. It's Pandemic, the musical. I mean, what kind of fucking, I'll wear a mask. I won't wear a mask. I'll wear a mask. I won't wear a mask.
Yeah, it's getting to the point to where it's almost like that scene at Spaceballs where Yogurt has all this fucking merchandise ready to sell.
Right. I mean, and I am appalled at the whole thing. So,
they're talking, the CDC's talking that, we got to meet with governors and advise them that should advise people to wear masks in their own home. I'm not going to wear no fucking mask in the sanctity of my own home. If I gotta go in public, sure. But if I'm sitting my home with my cat, not doing a fucking thing, I'm not putting a damn mask on.
I just want to be entertained. I want to have a good time with sports. That's why I started the podcast. It wasn't for this other shit. If I wanted to do a political show, I'd do a political show. Yeah. But it's not in the best interest of me, my health, my girlfriend's health, or any of us to go down the road. So it's a sad time in the history of the country. The Browns, as of yesterday, had a training camp session, and it's pretty bad. Case Keenum and the second and third string looked sharper than the first string offense. Now, I don't know what to tell you. The Orange team beat Baker Mayfield's Brown team 14-10. There was no game planning or anything like that, but the fact of the matter is they just could not. Mayfield looked like he needs to do more work, and all of the skill players that we supposedly have couldn't get into the end zone but once against the second team defense. It's it's not good if you're a Browns fan. But Keenum finished 10 of 12 for 139 yards, which doesn't speak well of our secondary. And he threw 2 TD passes to Damian Ratley and to Ernest Johnson, who couldn't get open last year. Mayfield was 11 of 14 for 156 yards, but could not put the ball in the end zone. And then I read this, here's the other things that happened during practice. And it said, Browns players opened with a statement, and I stopped reading the article because it's like, I want to know how the team is doing. And it's not doing particularly well right now because they're not ready to play. It is already virtually the 1st of September. We're 2 weeks away from getting slaughtered in Baltimore. The Browns had an interest in Logan Ryan. He gone, okay? Logan Ryan already signed with the New York Giants. The Browns are not going to be able to pick up any kind of a seasoned defensive back. This is going to hurt them. It's just not real good. And if you were wondering about David Njoku, well, he missed an entire week with soreness in his surgically repaired wrist. Well, that makes me feel really good because, we wanted him back. We didn't want to trade him. So he's just going to dick us around for a couple more years. I just don't get it.
Yeah.
Why we stick with these people. Here are the players who did not practice today. Myles Garrett, BJ Goodson for personal reasons, Chris Hubbard, an ankle, Kevin Johnson, not the point guard, his liver. We know that.
The wide receiver back in the day, Kevin Johnson.
Yeah, that too. MJ Stewart Jr., a hamstring. Treader still has the knee. Greedy Williams, day to day with a shoulder. And Mac Wilson, we now find out 4 to 6 weeks. By the way, Damian Willis, who was claimed last week via waivers, failed his physical and was waived.
Huh.
Now,
Why he failed his physical? Was he like fucking 600 pounds or something?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Tony.
Did it say why he failed his physical?
No, it didn't. And what they're saying is what's happening with the Browns transition. And Tony, you can probably speak to this a hell of a lot better than I can because you've seen Stefanski do the voodoo that he do in Minnesota. But here's what we're seeing less of, okay, in camp. Slant routes.
Yep,
I mean,
barely ran those in Minnesota.
Well, and what do you think Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry caught most of?
Slant routes.
There you go. Landry caught 14 and 16 slants in his final 2 seasons with the Dolphins. Beckham caught 21, ninth most of the league in 2016, his last Pro Bowl season. And now that's gone, okay? All right, so that's because we couldn't get anybody open on the slant under idiot, all right? And this is not the scheme we're moving toward. The wide receiver screen. Remember how many of those we threw and it never seemed to work because we were trying to play east-west football and there was always a guy there to tackle the wide receiver? Landry caught a lot of wide receiver screens, but they just didn't do all that well. But under the new scheme, you ain't going to see that. Mayfield's 31 wide receiver screens in 2019 ranked 6th. But those are not the kind of quick hitting patterns that we're going to be doing. The seam pattern, which Austin Hooper caught 8 of in 2019 with the Falcons, ranking him 4th. We're not going to see seam patterns. So what is it we're going to see? Tony, what the fuck are we going to see?
I'm going to see a lot of running back screens, a lot of running back out patterns, and a lot of rushing.
Yeah, it's interesting. The passing is the deep cross. Cousins,
yep,
your guy.
Thielen and Diggs, that's what it was.
That's what it was. That's exactly right. 19 deep cross routes in 2019.
And then you had Rudolph and Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin? I don't think his name is Michael Irvin, but Irvin is our other tight end. They were up the middle, on the under routes.
Right. So, I mean, so the deep cross is something that you're going to see more of. And I think you're going to see tight ends catching the ball. But I think you're going to see less of the middle of the field. And that was what Baker Mayfield was really strong at doing in his first year in the league, but it was not strong doing in his second year where he threw way too many interceptions. So, I guess the way I look at it is they're going to rein in Baker Mayfield and try to use his accuracy from sideline to sideline and shorter, quick-hitting passes to negate turnovers. And when they do deep strikes, it's going to be, the deep cross. You're not going to see, the same kind of ridiculous bombs that were being thrown last year. So, it's interesting stuff. You want to talk about a team giving up, the Jaguars. My goodness. I don't know any organization except maybe the Redskins and Browns that have made so many mistakes. I mean, Leonard Fournette is waived after 3 seasons, and Fournette was supposed to be the real deal coming into Jacksonville, and they really built a lot of their offense on the fact that they had Blake Bortles as a quarterback, and they didn't want to rely on passing the ball too much. And Fournette never really lived up to his press clippings.
Right. They also traded Yannick Ngakoue to the Vikings. That's pretty good defense end for a second-round pick and a 5th-round pick. I mean, not really much value there, kids.
And when I see Doug Marrone as the head coach, I remember his horrible college career. The guy,
remember that he's Marrone.
Doug Marrone is a lousy coach, and they claim that the reason was they just didn't see anything from Fournette during camp. But the fact of the matter is that it's Trent Richardson-esque, okay? And somebody will take a shot at this guy. Somebody will take a shot on him. And and one of the teams that's looking at him is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I mean, why not? Who's their running back? I mean, they have Connor, but Connor's
right.
He's never healthy.
Yeah, with Roethlisberger coming back and playing, and they only have $4 million in cap space. They're the most financially strapped team that probably has a shot at Fournette, but you just don't know at this point what kind of a price he's going to fetch. And,
wouldn't it be funny if you went out to the Lambs to replace the other guy, Gurley?
Yeah, Gurley.
It'd be like at the late '80s when they had Charles White and Billy Joe Dupree.
Well, James Conner was great in 2018 without Roethlisberger, He was sniffing Mason Rudolph's ass. I mean, the Steelers were 29th in rushing. I mean, you can't win in the NFL that way. So and if there's anything the league can do to get them a talented player, the league will do it. I can guarantee you that.
You're getting a Joe Banner.
Yeah, speaking of sniffing, Doggy Bones wants to hear you.
Oh, no. Okay, Joe Banner. All right, let's do it. Let's do it. What do you want Joe Banner to say? All right.
Talk about the release of Leonard Fournette.
You mean his girlfriend released him? I don't want to hear about that. I want to talk about the Browns because you didn't see any 0-16 for me. Does something smell? You didn't see 0-16 from me. You just didn't. You saw that from a revolutionary leader like Huey Jackson, not from me. You thought it couldn't get worse? Double fucks on you. Oh, I'm killing it. I'm knocking it out of the park. My eyes are going to get stuck. I can't do him for long. Neither could any woman. Goodness, fucking Joe Banner. I mean, if I had to look at that, I mean, him, and he was like one of the least popular people in the league. It's like, his idea, I guess, of getting along with people was just like, pissing in the punch bowl, Okay. Rob Chudzinski. Where am I these days? I don't know. What is the team? Am I in Indianapolis? Where am I? I don't know. I was once a head coach. I was a tight end in Toledo. Toledo. Where do we get these guys, man? Where do we get them?
Did you do a good Pat Shurmur impersonation? Or was
the only Pat Shurmur I ever
never mind. That was Chuck Booms, and he would just do the buzzards from the old.
This was the Pat Shurmur. I mean, it was kind of like if you sucked a brain out of a man. Yeah.
The man with two brains.
Yeah. That's
she stuck you in the oven? Try counting to 10. 1,
Pat Shurmur,
2, 5, 7. Good enough, honey.
It's true. The Pat Shurmur impersonation was a lot like Pat Summitt. Yeah, poor Pat Summitt. I should never have done that impersonation, But but I don't know. He was channeling a lesbian. I don't know. All I know is
stretch there, Bronchi.
I channel him. And I wish I could change the channel because I just don't want to keep doing that because it hurts. Don't make me cause it hurts. Yeah. We've had them all in Cleveland, folks. We've just had them all. Really, it's 7:03, and I have said everything I wanted to say, and I actually got to do Joe Banner, which was like, Topaz? Did Topaz make a poop? Yeah. But Indians fans, rejoice. You'll get to watch your team tonight, and who in the hell knows? We're going into Kansas City. Kansas City, here we come. And
Oscar Mercado was recalled.
So what?
Oscar Mercado was recalled for Yu Chen or whatever the fuck his name is.
Oh, everybody,
Yu Chen tonight.
No, Mi Chang. No, Yu Chang. We're working on the Chang gang.
All we need are Fook you and Fook me.
No, it was Dorothy Part-Time. Yeah, she's.
Okay, let's end this shit.
And bring back Mike Pettin's dad. Mike, you never really made it. Not like I did. I was an icon in high school. That's what I was, an icon in Pennsylvania high school sports. And what did you become? What did you become? Poor Mike. That's the thing that Rox and I do, the impersonation of people cowering in GTA Grand Theft Auto 5 for the Xbox One.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'm wrapping it up. Thanks, everybody, for tuning into this edition of Moohead Radio. Fun being with you always. Back again on Friday. We'll see what happens in this wacky world of sports. Try to get along with everybody and take a deep breath and enjoy your life if you can. Until next time, hasta la vista, Pastorheads. Good night.